Welcome to Toffee TV. It is my 3 talking points. Everton 0, Manchester City 2 at Goodison Park today. A disappointing afternoon in the end at Goodison. Everton just couldn't muster up enough quality in the final third to get something against probably a City team that's, I'm going to say poor because they've got unbelievable footballers, but not playing as well as a lot of the Manchester City teams we've seen come to Goodison over, certainly under Pep's reign. It's been a while since they have not had or has had a little sparkle as what they had today. But what they did have is they're all really good footballers. There's a lot of quality still in that side, and they are missing important players as well, of course. And you can see the confidence, or however you want to call it, the swagger's not quite there yet. I think they'll spend well in the summer and they'll be back to the Manchester City we all have come accustomed to over the last 7 or 8 years. But it was a chance, I felt, today for Everton to maybe even win the game. I think they've been a little bit below lately, albeit they've sort of improved slightly in the last few weeks. But the truth is, they're just a much better football team than Everton, and you have to hold your hands up there and go, they pass it round well, they're all comfortable. But I thought special mention to Nico O'Reilly today. Kevin De Bruyne, I love watching. He's fantastic. He was brilliant again today. Bernardo Silva's a clever player. You've got the sort of unpredictability of Savinho, that of Doku when he came on the pace, but Nico O'Reilly, a young player coming in, I've been impressed with him every time I've seen him for City. But seeing him in the flesh today, fantastic. Looks a fantastic talent. Great first touch, really good footballer, brilliant physique on him, quick, strong. So he looks like he's got everything. Whether he'll remain a left back, he looks more like a ball-playing centre-back with his size, but who knows? He looks like he can play anywhere. But he stood out today. I thought he was magnificent for Manchester City. Today, from an Everton perspective, give them a game again to go to it's great having a plan where you're all in shape and you make it difficult, and we did that really well. When Jordan Pickford was needed, he was there. But losing Tarkowski was an absolute hammer blow for us, and more on that in a bit. But I think what David Moyes has done is proved that we can give teams a game. They know they're in a game. There's no easy game now playing against Everton. But we are really short in the final third. We are. We've got players, and Jai doesn't look fit, and sharp. I mean, he's clearly fit, doesn't look sharp. Harrison, I thought, again, put everything into it. Everything the lad has got. But we need a little bit more. We need goals. We need a real goal threat from those wide areas. We need someone supporting the striker who's a real goal threat. I know Decore scored the winner last week, but you've got to have, for me, in that position, you have to have real quality about you on the ball. You have to be able to create and score goals. And the centre-forward's got to do more than what Brien did, and better when he come on today. And I think it's highlighted, I've said it many times, but they have got so much of that ability that it's glaring sometimes when you come up against these teams. I think for a lot of teams in the division, clubs in the division, when you're playing against them, it isn't so glaring. But when you're up against the top teams, it stands out like a sore thumb, and that's it, really, where we were short. But going on from that, obviously conceding the 2 goals was so frustrating. But moving on from that is my first talking point. And that is, I wish this team would shoot more. I'm amazed with David Moyes, because I think the opening few home games, it was like he'd said, get out and get a few shots away early, get the crowd up and running. Get them on your side. And we've done that in a lot of games. But today, it can't only be on the manager. Arsenal was very similar. It's like we have the opportunity anywhere around that 18-yard box to get shots away, and we pass it wide, or we turn and pass it back. And I think sometimes you've got to pull the trigger. You've got to get the space and have a go. All you get is no Ederson. And when I've seen him playing, he's give chances to the opposition. And today I really thought we'd be trying to pepper his goal and see what he's like, test him out a little bit. If he's catching everything and making good saves, fine. I also think it keeps the fans engaged. I think when you're playing Man City, it's the hardest game to sit through as a fan, I think, and try to get an atmosphere going when you're doing a lot of chasing of the ball. So when you get your moments you have to force it, and that is either done from pressing and forcing them into errors, or when you're in and around the final third, you've got to get shots away, crosses into dangerous areas. You've got to bring the crowd into it, because what City do brilliantly, and probably better than any team, is kill the atmosphere, because they're able to just keep the ball for so long and they're so dangerous with it. I don't think we've done that today, and I think that's one thing. If I could speak to David Moyes, would be like, please encourage the players to shoot more. And he might say, they're told, you know what we are, that's what we're doing. And the players have to take that on themselves. Get yourself half a yard and get shots in. The professional footballers, they should be able to shoot. Let's start, anything can happen with shots. Get corners, deflections, I just don't think we're doing it enough. I think we need to step that up now. And really, the last few games, 5 to go, start getting shots away, put pressure on the opposition, ask some questions of the opposition and see where we end up. But right now, we're not doing it enough. Certainly the last 2 home games, we've not done it enough. So that is it. That was a little bit of a frustration for me today that we didn't shoot more, but hopefully we will going through the final few games. Second thing I want to talk about is what we do with the defence now. Obviously losing James Tarkowski is a hammer blow. I've not heard David Moyes' press conference at the time of recording this, so I don't know what it is. It looked, at first I thought it was his hamstring because he stretched and he was hitting the floor, but then he sort of seemed to be holding his knee. Now, he walked off the pitch, and that used to be a good indication that it wasn't too bad, but I don't know. Now players walk off, and Jai walked off, he'd done his knee against Liverpool, sort of hobbled and walked a bit and was out for a while. So you just never know. You never know if it's a hamstring. Depends how bad it is. If it's a knee, that could be Tarkowski done for the season. I think there's 5 weeks left, isn't it? I think it's 5 weeks. And therefore, the manager's got a big decision to make. I think he's made a decision today, and I don't think it was the right decision with the defence when Tarky went off. And I think he's got to look for something different. We want to know whether Jake O'Brien is good enough to play centre-back, or, we want to see him playing centre-back. And this might be the opportunity for him now. And we also need to know whether Nathan Patterson is good enough to play right-back in this team. Now, he might not be. And the manager could turn around and say, I see him in training every day, he's not up to it. Okay, but this is an opportunity. Michael Keane looks as though he's going to be leaving the football club next month. In June. So therefore, there's no point persisting with him. Try to get some answers for next season. Give Patterson a run at right back. See how he does. If he has a couple of games on the run and he's way off it, then okay, maybe you look at Young, or maybe you look at giving Keane that game and pushing O'Brien back. But it also gives you an opportunity to look at Jake O'Brien at centre-back and see whether him and Branthwaite are a partnership. That looks interesting. But I just feel as though today it just never worked, and it cost us in the end. Keane got booked early on, he was out the game, and therefore he couldn't do anything. And when he was committing, he was out of position and stuff, and it unsettled everybody. And he hasn't played for a while, so it's obviously difficult coming into that. So the manager's got a big decision to make, certainly for the Chelsea game. If Tarky's going to be out, isn't he? It's what he does with it, and that's going to be one that we have to keep our eye on. But I just do think with 5 games to go, it's a good opportunity to get a good look at Jake O'Brien at centre-back and a good look at Nathan Patterson at right-back, and then make your decisions. It might be that he thinks O'Brien's a better full-back, therefore we pursue another centre-back in the summer, and O'Brien's our right-back, and then we decide who's underneath him with the two. Is it Patterson? Do we move Patterson on? Do we loan him out? What do we do? Coleman, not convinced Seamus is going to stay. Not convinced Young's going to stay. Romain Dixon, what do we do with him? Does he go out and loan? Do we buy another right? All of these things which are going to be conversations they're having. I think it gives you an opportunity to look at 2 players in their position and see whether or not he thinks they're good enough. But that's going to be key, I think, next week with that coming up. And we'll have to wait and see which way he goes with it. And my third talking point is Idrissa Gana Gueye. Get that contract signed now, please. It looked as though he was going to be staying a few weeks ago. I still think he will stay, but his agent did say on Thursday that he's got a couple of good offers from Saudi Arabia, and if Everton don't sort of agree the deal with him, he will move and he'll leave Everton in June. And I just don't think Everton can afford to do that right now. I think when we see him, when he went off the pitch today, it was 0-0 when Idrissa left the pitch and we lose the game. And the midfield, Kovacic just come through and scored, and we just didn't have the same energy when he wasn't on the pitch, the same control. We need him to stay. It's as simple as that. He's our best player most games. Okay, he's 35, but he doesn't play like a 35-year-old. And I think Everton do need to pursue another midfield player in that sort of role. I'm not sure the answers are in the club right now. Harrison Armstrong may welcome him, but he's not that player anyway. He might come back in and be in and around him. I do think someone like Habib Diarra or someone of that ilk in midfield is who Everton should be pursuing this summer for sure, to go in that midfield. James Gana, he's decent enough. Can he do it? I don't know. Irabunum is a bit hit and miss, but there's talent there. There's no doubt about it with Irabunum. I still think he looks like a player who could play higher up the pitch, almost off the striker, the way he likes to run with the ball. So, we don't know what's happening with the core, right? But I think Everton definitely need another busy midfield player to supplement Idrissa. We need to get him signed for another year, in my opinion. I think he loves the club. It's plain to see. He's so good when he's on the pitch. And I think it'd be a massive hole. I think if Idrissa went, put it this way, we've replaced Idrissa Gana Gueye with Idrissa Gana Gueye. We never found the answer when he left for PSG. And we only sort of found it when he come back, because it was him. And therefore, we need another one like that. Now, I'm not convinced Everton have found that replacement for him right now. So therefore, we need him to stay. And if it's me, I'm trying to get that contract signed right now with him to stay for another 12 months. Like I say, he's our best player in most games. Compliment him. Harrison Armstrong back in that squad, maybe get another one in who's busy, mix the other midfield players up. Then you've got some real options. I know we need 2 right wingers. We need probably 2 strikers, as well as Chimiti, who I don't know whether he's injured or ill or whatever, but I was surprised he wasn't on the bench today. I'm really surprised he wasn't on the bench today. I'd like to see him given a go before the season's out. Don't see Armando Brien staying, really. For where David Moyes wants to play him, I'm just not convinced. He's a lone striker. To me, he wants to run with the ball. And therefore, you either play him in a number 10, but we're not going to play like that. That's more likely to be a midfield player who drops back in. Or you have to play him wide, and the manager seemed to discount any thought of him playing wide right or left in the press conference the other day. So I don't see him staying. Beto, I'm not convinced the manager is all in on Beto. He could well be, but it doesn't seem like that. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I don't know. It looks like he's going to leave. There was rumours the other day he may stay. I don't know. But Everton need, with Chimiti, probably 2 more strikers. One who can do, a Delap who can do things himself, and then you're still looking at another one. So, could be Breuer if they could get him on loan again, but I'm just not convinced he's going to stay. And I think too many of them going out the door. We'd need someone who's a constant in this team, the heartbeat of the team. And right now, that's Idrissa Gana Gueye. So for me, you might disagree, but for me, I'd be making sure he signs that new contract ASAP. And we've got Idrissa for another season. So fingers crossed with that one. That's it for my 3 talking points. Disappointing result today. Make sure you check out my match reaction. Like, subscribe to the channel. We're edging closer to the 100,000 mark. So thank you very much for all your support, all your comments, all your likes and everything else. Have a great weekend. See you later.